What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. As you saw in the title, we're going to be doing one of the last big fabrication pieces on the E82 competition drift car, and that is to start working on our trans tunnel. If you saw in the last video, we got the motor plate all fabricated, we got the transmission mount made, and now that transmission is in place, we can go ahead start getting this tunnel knocked out. I need to get the seat mounted in the car, see what kind of wiggle room I have, and I also have an FIA shift boot per FD rules, and it has a big square plate that goes over the shifter. So I'm going to mock up the seat, mock up the shift boot, have everything in position where we want it, and then we can go ahead and start making the trans tunnel out of cardboard, transfer it to metal, get it welded in, and we'll be done. So let's just jump right to it. Alright guys, so my camera died. I was out last night just kind of tinkering on the trans tunnel. Ignore my voice, I got laryngitis right now out of nowhere, so it's just starting to come back. It's been all jacked up, but here it is. Okay, I started whipping up the tunnel. I have it all kind of fabbed up. I'm trying to make it in 2 or 3 pieces so it's easy to attach. Now my original plan was to make the trans tunnel removable, mainly so I can service like the linkages, as well as inspecting the gears by pulling off the plate on the side of the trans. Once I have the seat and the dash and everything in here, if I feel like I want to inspect a linkage or something might be loose, it's going to be so inconvenient for me to reach over the cage, around the seat, under the dash, undo all the bolts, when I can just jack up the car and just go underneath and take a look and feel everything. And so I think the reality of it is, if I take the extra time to make this fit perfect and be removable, I'm more than likely never even gonna do it. So I have decided I'm just gonna weld this whole thing in. It'll be much more forgiving, be a little bit easier for me to make, and it'll make the trans tunnel much more strong as well. So that's the game plan. So because it's not gonna be removable, I need to make sure that I leave enough room to slide this transmission back out of the bell housing and drop it down. And right now, if I was to make it like this, I don't. So I'm gonna take some of this apart. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I am right now, before I go any further, gonna throw the new seat in, as well as get the pedals in, get the column mounted, so I can know for sure that this is my final shifter location. So let me throw those in real quick. I'm not gonna go too in depth showing you guys how I'm making mounts for the column. I want to go ahead and slap that together so we can get back on the trans tunnel. I want to make sure this is for sure where everything needs to be. Then we'll jump back, finish the tunnel. Alright guys, so I put the electric pedal in, not realizing that I'm going to be doing drive-by cable, not drive-by wire. So I went and picked up this IS300 pedal. I made a bracket for the back of it here, welded some nuts on the back. I'm going to go ahead and get it mounted onto the firewall so I can get this pedal into place. Then we can put the seat in position, start making the mounts for the column, have everything all good so we know that the trans shifter is right where it needs to be. Alright, so the IS300 pedal is in. Made a bracket here, welded some M6 nuts on the back to bolt it to. A little threaded standoff so I can set the depth at where this is resting. I have it in a good spot. So let's get our garagistic seat mounts and brackets in. We'll put the seat in, get a decent spot where we feel comfortable, make some mounts to hold the column right where we want to be, and then we can see if our shifter setback is in the right spot. Alright guys, so I've been doing a good bit of work off camera. It's all boring stuff that you probably didn't really care to see. I have the column in, I have the mounts for the column made. I think I already showed you the gas pedal is in, it's all good to go. and I started fabbing up the rest of this transmission tunnel. Now, you already saw the front half. I came out late last night and kind of whipped up this back half here. I think what I'm gonna do is just weld everything in and maybe just make a removable piece right here. I need about 4 to 6 inches behind the shifter in order to pull the transmission straight out and drop it down for whenever I need to remove it. So this is what I came up with. This hides a lot of the old hole. This will give me some area and reinforcement to mount other things too. I'll more than likely have my hydro mounted right here. And I gave myself enough room to have kind of a platform for the shifter boot to sit on. So there it is, I'm happy with it. We are gonna weld it all in. I don't know if I already told you guys this. My original plan was to make the trans tunnel all removable so I could service it and inspect it. But the reality is this transmission's in with 4 bolts. It's gonna take minutes to remove. If there's ever an issue internally, I'm gonna have to remove it anyways. So I'm gonna weld this in. It'll bring some strength back to the tunnel. I think the plan is to do this in 3 pieces. I'm gonna make this as 1 piece with this little bend here. I'm gonna make this top one piece, and this side piece 1 that wraps around to the front. All right, I didn't show much of the process, but I got this seat in. We have our mounts from Garagistic, side brackets, and this is our seat. It's a Momo Daytona. This is not a sponsored piece. I bought this outright myself, but it's all in. The seating position is exactly how we want it. Now, the whole purpose of getting all of this in, the steering column, the pedals, the seat, I wanted to get it all 100% exactly how I want it and comfortable so I can make sure that this trans tunnel is going to clear, and it absolutely is. I'll be able to bring this back a little bit. We are just not touching, which is perfect. Plenty of room. I couldn't have asked for anything better. So now that that's all good, seating positions 100%, I can go ahead and pull all this stuff back out now that it's all made, and we can start transferring over the cardboard templates onto some sheet metal. We'll take it to Jack's Fab, we'll have them bend it up, we'll bring it back here, and we'll get this thing welded in so we can have pretty much all of the fabrication on the chassis will be 100% done, minus like a few little brackets and things like that. But we're gonna be painting the whole car with Steel-It, so the little brackets and stuff, not a big deal. We can either weld right over the Steel-It, we can grind it and go right to the metal. Easy to touch up, you'll have no idea that anything was done after the fact. So that's that. I'll get you guys back on the camera and start showing you the process of what I'm doing. Sorry I didn't show you this stuff. It's all pretty meticulous, and I really just wanted to knock it out on my free time and not sit here and move the camera around a bunch. Guys, we're back from Jack's Fab. I didn't show any of the progress there, just kind of went over there, knocked it out real quick, came back home. Here it is. They're all bent up, ready to go. I made some of them a little on the big side. Obviously, it's better to err on the side of caution. I would rather these be a little big and file them down than have them too small and be screwed. So here they are. We got these 2 pieces here, as well as our top piece. As you can see, these ones have a little bit of surface rust. I'm gonna hit them with a DA real quick, clean them all up front and back. Then we're gonna put them in the car. I'm gonna trace out on the chassis exactly where the metal lies. Then we'll go ahead and wire wheel it all down to bare metal, get them tacked in, start getting it all welded up. Also, you couldn't really see it before, but we bent an X design into the face of this. I was contemplating bead rolling a couple lines, but he had suggested just bending this little X, and I kind of like it. Gives it a little flavor. I think what I'm gonna do is get this top plate and this side plate and weld them together on the bench. I think that's gonna be my best move. Kind of make this 1 piece. I'll just tack it so I got a little bit of wiggle room in it. And then we'll bring this guy in, slide it into place, get everything positioned, and then we'll start tacking it onto the car. But I got these pieces tacked, so they're all together. Let's get them put into the car. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to do a little more trimming to get this to fit up into the chassis nicely, but we at least have this as 1 unit for now. All right, so I got the tunnel all welded up on the back side and the front side. I went ahead and ground a bunch of this down and smoothed it out. So now it is all one piece. Fits up in here pretty good. Something just like that. Awesome. So now it's just a matter of cutting out all the excess metal. You can see I traced around where this is gonna sit in the chassis. There's no point to have all of this here in the way. So what I'm gonna do, leave myself about maybe 3/4 of an inch or so, and we're gonna cut a lot of this out, mainly on this backside. I might leave a good bit of this here. All right, guys, I have the trans tunnel all welded out all the way around. It was a big pain. This whole top was right on a pinch weld. Same with the back. It turned into an all-day event. Now, on the inside of the trans tunnel was a complete pain in the ass. Now, I went ahead and welded this all the way around. This bottom side looks like absolute crap because there's 3 layers of metal right here that all separated as I cut. So I was trying to pinch it, weld it, pinch it, weld it. It sucked. It absolutely sucked. It took me an entire day just to get all of it welded back together. Looks like crap, but I'm gonna run a fat bead of seam sealer all the way around the perimeter of this anyways, so it's not a big deal. It's strong, it's welded. I was really hoping to have the welds be visible, but I'm just gonna do the same thing inside, run some seam sealer all the way around. You should really do that anyways, just to keep it protected. But I was trying to make it really nice and fancy, so either way, it doesn't matter. So now I'm going to run some seam sealer along the inside here just to have this bottom side done. Then we can go inside the car. I'm gonna wire wheel all the way around the welds, get it all nice and clean, hit that with some primer, throw some seam sealer on it, and then we'll go ahead and paint it. Okay, so we have everything covered in seam sealer, all protected from the elements. Much better. So now let's go to the inside. We'll start finishing that up. Alright guys, the trans tunnel is done. It's primed, it's ready for paint. I have the inside of the tunnel all done as well. Sorry, lighting's kind of bad, but you can see it turned out really nice. As good as it can look for having to weld together 3 little thin layers. So I'm happy with it. It looks really good. The last thing that we need to do is go ahead and just cut our little tunnel back here so we have room to slide the trans out. We're gonna make an aluminum piece that'll just bolt down to this. So let's knock that out real fast and I'll show you guys how it looks. All right guys, we're back. It's the next morning. This piece all done, it's in. I also have our little shift boot base plate that is aluminum as well. So what I'm going to do is take this to my brother real quick, have him weld this up so this is all one piece. I don't have to deal with having a bunch of separate pieces when I want to pull the trans. This will all be one, quick, easy, removable. So let's run over there real quick and get it knocked out. All right, guys, we're back home. We have the plate installed. It's all good. It's just stitch welded all the way around, so it's one piece. It's solid, and it's good to go. So that is gonna wrap up this video. Trans tunnel's done. Super happy with how it came out. So that's it. All we have left at this point is to just paint the interior of the car, and we can finally start assembling things into the car for the final time and leaving it in. Super pumped about that. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.